Hi guys, I'm here today. Ooh. And I am again talking about more countries and more cultures. We've already covered the UK with London, and today we're moving on to France. And I have been to Paris, France, the famous city of love. And that was quite an interesting experience for me. I'm going to tell you right up front, it was not my favorite. Um, it was actually probably my least favorite of all of the foreign countries I have ever been to, but that was based off of my own personal preferences, so don't let that scare you away from ever going there. But just so you know that I am a little biased when I talk about it. Um, I talked a lot about in the previous episode or video or whatever you want to call it of the London being super clean. I'm gonna tell you right now, Paris is not super clean. Um, I felt really, I felt dirty. Like, I didn't feel super gross, but like, if you've ever been to like a standard city where it's like sort of dirty, sort of clean, Paris was more on the mostly dirty side, from when I went. Um, I mean, the underground there, I, I did not like being in it at all. It's the kind of thing where you could just smell everything that had ever lived and died in that underground system. I didn't personally like it. I mean, there were other people in my group with me that didn't mind it, and Paris was their favorite thing that they've ever been to, and these people traveled with me to these foreign countries. So it's just my personal preference. It wasn't the cleanest, and cleanliness is a big factor for me. So if it's not a big factor for you, great. If it is, take that into consideration. Something else that sort of makes the city feel dirtier is the Seine River. And the Seine used to contain all of the sewage in the city because everything would just lead right out to the river and it would smell gross, and it's been a long while since that time, and there's still a slight urine smell. There's and plus there's the natural river smell to it. But the Seine River is actually very pretty. It's nice to look at. It's, serene and everything like that. It's just the smell mostly. On the Seine, obviously, there's going to be bridges connecting one side to the other. So, you take a boat ride on the Seine and you look up and these bridges are some of the oldest bridges ever in the history of histories. And you look at the architecture and all these different things. It's just breathtaking and beautiful. If you're an architecture person, I recommend going to see Paris for a weekend, if nothing else. And when I was there, we were passing under these bridges on the Seine, and we look up and there's these people on like one or two of these bridges, and they're dressed in white, from head to toe white, and they're eating dinner on these bridges. And I'm like, dang, how do I get invited to this? Turns out it's this secret club, and it's once a year they have this white dinner, and they just sit there and eat on the bridges. And the bridges that they sit on are, of course, really close. You can see the Eiffel Tower. So it's pretty cool, and if I lived in Paris, I would totally want to be in this secret club. And of course, you probably have to do all kinds of other stuff. You probably have to pay dues and fines. And you can still walk on the bridges that these people are eating on. They take up half, and, pedestrian traffic just goes on the other half of the bridge, and it's fine. And so, of course, after this Seine boat ride, we had to go check out the Eiffel Tower, and of course we had to cross one of the bridges that this dinner party was on, and we go, and there's the Eiffel Tower in all of its glory. It's fantastic, it's pretty, it's just like the pictures, you know. And we went all the way up to the top, saw one of the most amazing views of the city, and came all the way back down. Luckily, the elevators were working and we didn't have to use the stairs because I was already really tired, and there are a lot of stairs on the Eiffel Tower. A lot of stairs. If you are more in shape than I am, and I would say I'm not in shape, even though I could handle it better than a lot of the people in my group, but I would say compared to the rest of the world, I am not in shape. So if you are also not in shape like I am, Paris doesn't have a lot of elevators. They don't have a lot of ramps, mostly because Paris is a really old city, and they don't have the room to make those expansions, and it's can be hard. So if you are someone who has trouble with stairs, whether you're in a wheelchair or crutches or whatever the reason, if you have trouble, you know, Paris does have a lot of stairs, and you will miss out on quite a bit of things. So Paris is just not one of those cities that is wheelchair accessible. But if for some reason you can get up to the top of the Eiffel Tower, do so, because it's great. At the bottom of the Eiffel Tower, like probably a minimum of 100 yards away, you know, there's these greens and these fields that are nice, you know, kind of thing. And there are a bunch of like hagglers, kind of people like, oh, buy my cheap merchandise as a souvenir, blah blah blah. It's like cheapo dollar store kind of stuff. Ignore those people. You don't want to buy what they're selling. It'll break within 2 days. You're gonna regret it. Just don't do it. There will also be people, you know, at every tourist spot, every single one, these people are there, not just the Eiffel Tower. There will be people who will start making a bracelet on your wrist. And even if you don't want it and you're like, no, once they finish that on your wrist, you have to pay for it. Because you can't get it off. They tied it, of course, so you can't get it off, and now you're gonna walk away with their thing, so you have to pay for it. Ignore those people. It's not, like, scary, like, those people, you just sort of have to be assertive. Don't be afraid to be assertive about it and be like, no, pull your hand away, walk away. They're not really, I mean, they're gonna try to sort of surround you, especially if you're like 1 or 2 people, because they're all working together in cahoots, you know. They're not gonna kidnap you, they're not gonna rape you, they're not gonna, you know, they just want to sell stuff, they just want to get money, and you just have to ignore those people. There are certain things, though, that you can do as a tourist to the country that aren't touristy items, so you can avoid those people altogether. And my group and we happened to do one of the things that even many of the people that are in Paris haven't done, and that is to go and visit the catacombs. And yes, catacombs as in dead people, yes, death, yes. It was cool, it was great, it was fantastic, it was simply incredible, and it was my favorite part of Paris overall. It was phenomenal, and there are no hagglers there. So you go in, you walk through at your own pace, you know, you're not rushed, or you could go as fast as you want, you know, it doesn't really matter. And at the end, you walk up all these stairs, because of course you have to go down. So at the end, you walk up all these stairs, and there's a guy there. And like, he speaks French, like, he doesn't speak English. And so you're kind of like, dude, why are you here? Like, may I help you? But he is the bag check guy. And you're like, why weren't you in the front? Like, I could have had a bomb. Like, you don't know. But the bag check guy is there to make sure that you didn't steal any bones. And so if you would like a bone, you cannot take one. I advise not touching them. Don't take them out with you. That's what the guy's there for. He's just basically gonna be like, okay, whatever, go ahead through. After checking your bags. And then it's a nice afternoon, you know, it'll take, depending on how fast you want to go, it can take, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours, you know, and it's nice. And it's cool down there, so you get out of the heat if you go in the summer, and it's something I recommend to do if you have time to do it. If you don't have a lot of time, like if you're only going for, you know, a day or two to Paris, you don't have to, like, it's not like a must see, but it's something I recommend that's outside of the stereotypical, go see the Eiffel Tower, go see the Sacre-Cœur, go, like, you know, like, that's something extra. So if you have extra time or you're going back for your second or third or fourth time, I recommend going to see that. Overall, Paris was a lovely city and I liked it, but like I said at the beginning, it wasn't my favorite, and you know, I probably wouldn't go back. There's plenty of other places I'd rather visit first before going back to Paris. But that's, like I said, that's just my own thing. Like, don't take that to mean that Paris is horrible and that you shouldn't go. Go. Because it'll be, you know, fantastic, it'll be beautiful, and it could turn out to be your dream city. Yes, the city of love could be your dream city. I will talk to you later. Happy travels!